One planet, 7.3 billion people, only one you. Life offers us many opportunities and learning experiences. Are you ready to explore and discover this beautiful planet, the life and energy all around us, the spiritual world, and what is unseen, along with your own personal soul adventure? Marc Lainhart, the Intuitive Prospector, is the spiritual connection you have been prospecting for. Internationally known as a tested and professional clairvoyant medium and spiritual advisor, Marc's work as a metaphysical teacher, medical instructor, radio show host, inspirational writer, and hiking guide are here to help you on a journey of self-discovery, healing, inspiration, education, and a whole lot of spiritual awesomeness. Dare to dream, dare to explore, dare to live. For more information on Marc's spiritual practice in Seattle, Washington, please visit marclainhart.com or internet search The Intuitive Prospector.
good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be in this beautiful planet of ours. This is Marc, Lainhart, the Intuitive Prospector, here for another Monday edition of Metaphysical Mocha Mondays. Got a couple announcements for you. Going to be doing the Healing Cafe live from Tower Memorial Spiritualist Church about an hour after this show ends, so around 9:30. I'll be coming back on the Healing Cafe because we have to head over right after this show to the Tower Memorial Spiritual Church, one of the oldest spiritual churches in Seattle, Washington, to wrap up and finish our 4-day workshop of Mastering Your Mediumship with my special guest all the way from England, Penny Hayward, Arthur Findlay College tutor, who's been hanging out with me for the last few days. Just having a lot of fun with the spirit world, having a lot of fun with mediumship, meeting new people, building relationships, and watching the world of spirit take place. And that's today's message, is the unseen world, experiencing the unseen for the first time. And that's something that both Penny and myself teach on in the workshops that I do locally here in the Pacific Northwest and up in Canada. And it's experiencing how to understand what is unseen. And I'll give you some examples about how the unseen world works with us, some quotes about the unseen world. But before we get into the message of this morning, if you follow my work, thank you so much. But you know I'm all about being in the magic of the moment. So if you would, take a nice deep breath with me. Find yourself in the moment of time. Don't worry about the past. Can't do anything about it. Don't worry about the future, because the future is not set, and we might not ever get there anyway. So it's important to find the present moment, to move into what I call the magic of the moment. So looks like we've got a few of you joining in this morning. I want to say thank you to all of my members of the Spiritual Development Group who were here in town for the workshop. 4 of them came in from all different locations around the United States, and it was really cool and awesome to finally meet them. Some of them for the first time without the digital aspect, because I do my online development group digitally. So, and then they came over for dinner last night. We had a really fabulous dinner, taco, fajita bar, and some great wine, and just celebrating life. So and for those of the members that couldn't make it, as that's part of my development group, I might be doing a conference for those members so we can actually get together and practice this. And thank you to my team that's on with me this morning, helping to manage the page. Like I said, if you stick around, the Healing Cafe will be coming a little bit later after this show ends. Myself and Penny and myself need to jump in the Jeep and head to Tower Memorial so she can wrap up the 4-day workshop, and then I'll come on the Healing Cafe live from Tower Memorial Spiritualist Church and do free readings, chats, some mediumship, hopefully if I can get a phone working from there. But I also want to say thank you to everybody that's been a part of the workshop. It's been really fun, and that kind of inspired today's message about experiencing the unseen for the first time, something that happened to me over 20 years ago through great trauma and tragedy, or what I like to say TNT, that blew my world up, but it also triggered a transformation to be able to do the work that I do as a spiritual medium, as a psychic, as a healer, as an inspirer, as a teacher. And I really enjoy it. And I love watching when other people discover and experience the unseen world for the very first time, whether it's a workshop, whether it's in Penny and myself did a demonstration Saturday at Tower Memorial, had a lot of wonderful people there, a lot of messages, a lot of healing, and to really watch a couple that was really waiting for her father to step forward from the spirit world with just a simple apology, and watch her auric field, her color, her mannerisms, her facial expressions, her body language completely change from the messages that she received. And it kind of inspired me to kind of go back to when I first glimpsed and started to comprehend and grasp the unseen spiritual world. Now, for those of you that are watching, the belief systems are different. I was raised Catholicism, that God was in this big faraway place and I had to go through a priest to reach him. And I never really aligned with that. It never really made a lot of sense to me. And, for me, I never want to speak ill will about another religion. Everybody has their own belief systems, and that's, I just find that religion is a lot of the same versions on the same records, just different songs on the same record, depending on how you were raised, where you were born in the world. But it's all based on love. It's all based on the golden rule of paying it forward and doing unto others as you would do unto yourself. And I find that very consistent with most religions. But I also like to say, religion is all about following the messenger. Spiritualism is all about following the message itself directly. And so that's where I never really aligned. And when I started to experience the spiritual world that's very much around us, it's not up, it's not down, because we live on a round planet. So metaphysically speaking, it doesn't make sense because we're on a globe sphere. And I started to realize after the loss of my brothers, the TNT, the trauma and the tragedy that triggered that transformation, for me, realized that the unseen world, the spirit world, heaven, the etheric world, those that are no longer here are still very much around us. And if you're open to it, nothing to be scared about from a Hollywood, version or what you may see on TV. They're not here to possess us. They're not here to scare us. Usually we're scared because we don't understand, and we tend to fear the things we don't understand right away. But I found that when you tap into the spirit world, they find different ways to communicate with us. And we call that ADCs, after-death communications. And after-death communications can come in the form of an animal. It can come in the form of a body double, somebody that looks like your loved one. It can come through a voice that you actually hear, a book that you may be reading, a song that you may hear. You may just be driving your car, and all of a sudden mom pops in to say hi. So this is, experiencing the unseen for the first time. And what I like to equate it to is like the spiritual wind. We would all agree that when we look out our windows, if the wind was really blowing hard, these trees behind me would be swaying. We accept that for what it is at face value. We know that the wind is moving those trees, but we don't see the wind with our physical eyes. So there's an unseen movement that we don't see, but we can see the effects of the wind on the tree. And I like to say that a lot of times that is the spiritual wind, the spiritual essence that presses upon people through emotions, through feeling, through taste, through hearing, through smelling, using our different senses to connect with us. And that's something that both Penny and I have been teaching in the workshop, and I know that's something that they teach big on over at the Arthur Findlay College, where she's a tutor at. And that's why I brought her to Seattle, because I really want to work with the people that really have high standards and professionalism of working for the spirit world, with the spirit world, and educating people about the unseen spiritual world. So if you guys would do me a favor, thanks for joining in. I'm kind of limited. I apologize if the sound quality is not as good. I left my speaker system at Tower Memorial, but I'll be broadcasting live from Tower Memorial for the Healing Cafe. It's a great way to interact with me directly during Metaphysical Mocha Mondays. This is an inspirational show for the week ahead. So make sure to follow me at marklainhart.com. Follow me on my YouTube channel, Marc Lainhart, my Instagram or Twitter at Marc Lainhart. I'd love to have you follow the Intuitive Prospector and join almost the 29,500 spiritual prospectors following the page and interacting with me on a weekly basis to Carpe Diem, seize the day, prospect for the things that you want. You can also follow me at my podcast, Inspired Living Radio, over on Om Times Radio. You can find me through Alexa or Echo. Just ask to open up Positive Living or enable the Positive Living app for spiritual tips. Find me at Best American Psychics, Best Psychic Directory. So there's a lot of places to find me. If you just internet search the Intuitive Prospector or Marc Lainhart, we'll connect. We'll actually connect and go explore and discover through body, mind, and spirit, and in search of your own spiritual transformations, spiritual healing, and most importantly, your own spiritual gold. So today I'm talking about experiencing the unseen for the first time. And what I love about teaching is watching people experience the unseen spiritual world for the very first time. The human soul desires a reconnection with the spirit world. The stronger you create the spiritual connection to a desire, the more powerful will be your manifesting ability. That's by Dr. Michael Duckett. He talks about the mental codes. And again, it's really about building that human and that spiritual relationship, what is seen and what is unseen. I always think back to even just the telescope or the microscope. There was a debate for over 300 years before the microscope was even invented that if you didn't see it with your physical eye, it did not exist. There was huge debates. I think there was even people that had even died over the debate as far as what they believed for. And once the microscope came into play, we realized that there's a whole unseen world. There are creatures that live even in your eyelids right here, if you think about it. And there's a lot of smaller particles, a smaller life that actually encompass us all around us. And when you start to realize that just because you don't see it, there's the saying that when you are ready, the spirit world will show you things that others yet won't see. And again, when I say you see them here, but sometimes you start to open up this third eye, which allows you to see even more. And it's more of a feeling, it's more of a mental, it's more of a using your other senses in conjunction with moving into the spirit world. I mean, I always like to say that we have more friends behind the veil than on this side. And myself, personally, I know I've got a lot of people on the other side that are looking out for me, guiding me, supporting me, loving me. They're not going to tell me what to do because that's free will and choice. But I know that the spirit world and my spiritual entourage, my spiritual posse, my spirit guides are all with me on a daily basis. And then one day I will, join them because we're all just walking each other home at the end of the day. But I also remind people that the spiritual life does not remove us from the world, but it leads us deeper into it. It's that that old adage that Joseph Campbell talked about: the cave you fear usually holds the treasure you seek. And when you start to be educated and learn that the spiritual world is not what you see in Hollywood movies, not a place to be fearful of, you realize when you explore that cave that there's a lot of healing that can take place from that. There's a lot of comfort and a lot of inspiration that can come from the unseen world. And that's what I wanted to talk about, because it's really cool to watch people that have never done mediumship before. The 4-day workshop is all about mastering your mediumship. And you master your mediumship not in a 4-day workshop, but over time, over dedication, over desire, over discipline, over spiritual development, having a mentor, all these things that is a time process. It's not like it's kind of like going to school, I guess, if I was to say, you start through your K through 12, you spend 12 years trying to be educated in the ways of the world. And then for some, you go on to a vocational school. Like myself, I started off with the Coast Guard doing vocational trades like plumbing, welding, carpentry, firefighting. And then I went on to get my undergrad in business management. So that was 4 years of studying the world of business and communications and marketing. And then I got my graduate study in sports medicine and human performance. So that was another 2 years on top of that. So when you take all the years of your education that you think about this, from K-12 to any postgraduate or post-high school education, you've got at least 15 to 20 years of education under your belt just to navigate in this world alone. So the spirit world and working on your mediumship, taking classes, writing papers. I'm a member of the Spiritual National Union of England and working on my first certifications for SD1, which is writing papers and getting certified in the world of mediumship. So it's, again, like going to school, to college, to understand the fundamentals and the foundations of spiritualism, of working with the unseen world and mediumship. So, again, the spiritual life does not remove us from the world, but it leads us deeper into it. And, it's just really cool to watch people experience the spirit world, their loved ones, maybe a complete stranger they've never connected with before. It's inspiring to me. It's really cool. It really just it inspires me to want to do this work more and to be even more engaged with the world of spirit and the etheric world and connect to my loved ones. And again, guys, I wasn't always into this. I didn't plan. I wanted to be a firefighter, and there were other things that, the trauma and the tragedy, or what I call the TNT, triggered transformations for me and got me to explore and discover through my mind, through my body, and through my spirit. And that is where the Intuitive Prospector was pretty much formed and created. I always think about Rumi. Rumi is someone who inspires me. If you don't know, Rumi is a 12th century mystic from what we would call the world of Afghanistan, Iraq, Iran, that part of the world. But Rumi talks about everything you see has its roots in the unseen world. Dun, dun, dun. Think about that. Everything that you see has some sort of root to the unseen world. And that is... that's why I love Rumi. The other thing he says is everything you see has its roots in the unseen world. The forces change, yet the essence remains the same. And when you think about that, it's pretty interesting. Everything in the seen world is a dim reflection or representation of the unseen world. So again, you can't have the night without the day. You can't have the light without the dark. You can't have the physical world without the unphysical world, and you can't have the seen world without the unseen world. There's a yin and yang, however you want to look at that, however you want to believe in that. But there is a lot of truth to that. And there's a lot of signs, symbols, synergy, and synchronistic events, after-death communications that I teach on, that I've learned and researched a lot on, written papers on. And when you start to be open and aware of your own awareness and your own free will and your own choice, of course, I'm never going to tell you what to do, but inspire you to be a prospector in search of something bigger than yourself and to go out and prospect for that unseen world, you'll start to see that there is some truth to that. There is some things that will resonate with you. So maybe there might be some things that don't resonate with you, but at the same time, when you look at other forms of communication from an intelligent world full of love and inspiration and guidance and knowledge and wisdom and enlightenment, man, you really start to change your life. You change your relationships. You change your pathways. So I hope that encourages you. I hope that gives you a little inspiration. But let's get some coffee, right? It's Metaphysical Mocha Mondays. Take another nice deep breath with me. The essence of coffee. So Rumi also has another quote that I was going to read to you, and then I'll get into your totem animal spirit for the week and your number for the week and your crystal for the week to help encourage you and help you be a prospector. The leaf of every tree brings a message from the unseen world. Look, every falling leaf is a blessing. And it's just like the tree of life. The tree sheds, and every year, like clockwork, it regrows. And it's the circle of life, just like us. The leaf of every tree brings a message from the unseen world. Look, every falling leaf is a blessing. And then again, that's another Rumi quote. So you guys may know that I love Rumi, and he really inspires me. So let's get to your number for the week. Your number for the week I actually pulled is a number 66. 66 in numerology is all about double self-love, and it's the healing energy of working with the unseen world. It's not about just doing cool things with the unseen world. There's a lot of healing and seeking your own truth and finding your authentic self. So the healing aspects of the unseen world. So that's your number for the week, numerology number for the week. The totem animal spirit for the week is the otter. And we were talking about otters. I always said if I could come back as an animal, I'd probably come back as an otter. Because the otters are fun. They get to pretty much lay on their backs all day and eat abalone. But if the otter shows up, it's a time to relax and be more playful, spontaneous, and creative. And that's what I love about the otters. If you see an otter in the real world at the aquarium here in Seattle, or in a book, or on television, it's also about clean up that area in your home that needs organization for some time. And whatever struggles you're up against right now, confront them head on. With courage, determination, and tenacity, and make your family a top priority at this time. You're going to experience a surge of energy and vitality. And again, that's the otter. I find that nature, not that your loved ones are in the form of an animal, they're not in the form of an otter or a butterfly. And I mean, they might be. I don't know for 100%. But at the same time, it's a way to trigger the mind to help you connect to your loved ones, whether it's numbers, whether it's nature, whether it's an animal, whether it's a crystal. And your crystal for the week is actually moldavite. Moldavite is something that I carry in my pocket when I'm working. It's called the extraterrestrial stone. I have a little sliver here. Looks just like this. It's that green colored, and it's a very expensive stone. It's very rare. It's called the extraterrestrial stone, but I carry it because it helps to open up my senses, my clairs, my five senses, and how I can, interact with the spirit world. So there's your number for the week, your numerology number for the week, your totem animal spirit for the week, and your crystal for the week. And I just want to say thank you for hanging out with me this morning. I'm going to end a little bit early because we have to hit the road to head for Tower Memorial. But if you are interested, I will be back here on the Intuitive Prospector page in about an hour for the Healing Cafe. It normally follows right after Metaphysical Mocha Mondays, but because we're finishing up our 4-day workshop and we're ending the night at the Sorrento Hotel, the very active, paranormal, haunted hotel in Seattle, we're having our final dinner there, so that'll be a lot of fun tonight. But if you want to join me in the Healing Cafe in about an hour, I will be broadcasting live from Tower Memorial Spiritualist Church, which is one of the oldest spiritual churches in Seattle, Washington, and I look forward to hanging out with you and giving you some reading, some inspiration, and of course a whole lot of spiritual awesomeness. So thanks for hanging out with me this morning in Metaphysical Mocha Mondays, and most importantly, be open to the unseen world. Be open up, to be able to change some of your belief systems and how you see the world. And it's pretty cool when you do. That's all I have to say. So until our next soul adventure together, be kind, be caring, be compassionate, and most importantly for your journey, dare to dream, dare to explore, dare to live. And I'll see you next Monday here in the Metaphysical Mocha Mondays.